And we are back. And we just finished watching the classic 9 to 5 from 1980, rated PG, with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. This is a PG movie. Was there cursing? No.
Yes. He calls them
the B word, right?
Yeah, he says bitches. There's also drug use.
Yes.
a joint.
Some mentioning of
Sexual
innuendo.
Today, this would be like a PG-13.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is from a story by Patricia Resnick, from a screenplay by Colin Higgins and Patricia Resnick, and this is directed by Colin Higgins. This is currently streaming on HBO Max and is the story of 3 office workers played by Lily Tomlin as Violet, Dolly Parton as Doralee Rhodes, and Jane Fonda as Judy Burnley, who have had enough of their absolutely ridiculous, sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot of a boss, played by the lovely Dabney Coleman, and decide to turn the tables on him in a pretty spectacular way.
It's sort of like they fall into turning the tables on him.
Yes.
Due to an accident.
Yes.
Which is it's all really well put together.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is one of those older films that really holds up.
Yes. I was just going to say that. I was going to say, you and I, did you watch Fish Calls Wanda with me?
Yes.
Yes. That was another film that I was pleasantly surprised still held up even after all this time. It's always hard to go back to the stuff that you love in the off chance that it's not as good as you remember it, like Krull. So this was, it's got St. Dolly in it. I should have known. I never should have for a minute doubted that this was going to be pure entertainment, which it absolutely was. I was super stoked that my children got involved and started yelling at the screen like their father when they get excited.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's you.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. This is obviously not your first time at the rodeo. What did you think?
I like this movie a lot. I remember liking it when I was a little kid. This is the first time I have seen it since I saw it in the theater 43 years ago or whatever the hell, whenever it came out. So this was almost like seeing it brand new because there were giant swaths of plot that I don't remember. All I remember from a child was certain scenes like Dabney Coleman hanging from the ceiling and things like that.
Contraption, yeah.
And the fantasies that the girls have about
doing him in.
Yeah, doing him in. So those are the ones that stuck with me the most. But the plot, it holds up. It's good.
Yeah. Agreed. And you've got that iconic song that will stand the test of time.
Yeah. Like they didn't even ask her to write it. She just...
you know what? I think I read, was it for this film or was it Steel Magnolias? I think I read for like one film. It might have been for this film. Like I think it was like her first film and she was super nervous and she memorized everybody's lines, like the entire script so that she would know. And she's like, her character is pretty prominent in this film. She's
all three of them.
All 3 of them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more, no. All 3 of them for sure, but I feel like Lily Tomlin's Violet and Doralee are the more, although Judy has that scene with the ex-husband, which was kind of a defining moment for
they
her.
all show moments of them with their families.
They do.
Violet with her kids, Judy with her ex-husband, and Doralee with her husband.
Her husband, right.
Yeah, so they do show them. I feel like they were all pretty equal. I don't think any of them were sort of like played a second fiddle to the others.
No. I think it was actually equally distributed between the 3 ladies.
Well, what's the other girl's name? There's Violet, Dorothy, and
Judy.
Judy.
Gigi, what did you think of the film?
I enjoyed it. I was rooting for the 3 of them.
Yes. Who was your favorite of the 3 Musketeers?
Doralee, easy.
Doralee was fantastic, played by the lovely Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
Voluptuous women. She is stacked in this film.
It was distracting.
Yeah.
She's always been a voluptuous woman.
Yeah, but plus those old style like bras that like
look like
they aren't as conical as like the Marilyn Monroe style bras where it looks like if she turns the wrong way she'll just slice someone's eye out or somebody or something. But like they definitely could have gotten some support going there.
What about you, Olive G? What'd you think of the film?
I thought it was great. I liked it.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite character?
That's kind of hard since I liked a lot of them.
You liked all three of them?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Did you have a favorite scene in the film?
Probably when Judy told her husband to go screw himself.
Yeah, that was great. I didn't think Judy had it in her, but it was nice to see her get a backbone.
Stood up for herself. She
Stand up
didn't
for
let this
herself.
guy weasel his way back in. He was scum. She left me after a week.
Yeah, so now I want you
now
back.
I want you back.
Jerk.
Got to get that consolation prize.
Yeah, I hope that you forget that I left you for the other one.
Yeah. And then she
In the
dumped him.
meantime, my one of my favorite sequences is that whole hospital thing where they just it was like
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my god, that was
Yeah.
amazing. They
That
got
was-
the wrong. Oh my
I mean, we
god.
could spoil it. This movie is literally 43 years old. My God,
Yeah.
that's a person. That is a person. That's a long ass time.
That is an adult.
And it's so great. This movie is from 1980, and yet it still holds up. The writing is spot on. The characters are really well done, really well acted. I mean, kudos to somebody like Dolly Parton, who isn't known at this point as an actress, but goes on to kind of fill that role in other things like Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and Steel Magnolias. She definitely has such a presence, right?
Wait, the one that plays Dolly Parton, wasn't she the woman that had that little small hair salon that kind of?
That's right.
That's
Steel
right.
Magnolias. That's right. Truvy.
I knew it.
Truvy. That's Miss Truvy. Yeah, love that. That's probably my favorite Dolly Parton performance ever. But
That movie was amazing.
that movie
Do
is
we
amazing.
review it?
We have reviewed it, and every time I see it, I don't not cry, especially at the funeral, at Shelby's funeral. Yeah, but getting back to this one, yes, one of my favorite sequences is the whole Keystone Cops situation with the body at the hospital.
That was funny.
That was amazing. Loved it. But I also enjoyed sort of the last part of the movie, I guess the final acts, when things kind of hit the fan and you realize that Dabney Coleman's character, Mr. Hart, is on the loose and making trouble.
I also like the part where in the credits it tells that Mr. Hart was kidnapped by a tribe in the Amazons in
yes.
Brazil.
I don't know why the tribe in the Amazon would want Mr. Hart to begin with, but
Maybe they were hungry.
He was never heard from again.
Yeah.
It was probably eaten.
Probably.
It's
Yeah.
possible. I mean,
That's
it
a
would
whole
be-
other movie.
Yes. It would be kind of just desserts for a creature like him. Mm-hmm. Did you have a favorite scene, G?
Doralee's fantasy of
getting
yeah,
him.
that was interesting.
Yeah, I you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, G. That's a great, obviously, this is like a Hollywood version, but I'm sure there are people that have fantasized about
Turning the tables
on their bosses. And so a lot of stereotypes come from somewhere, right? How she said she was willing to forgive him, chasing her around the table and being inappropriate and this, that, and the other thing. But she hated that he lied about her and him having an affair.
Yeah, because she was everybody was looking at her.
Right. And
And
talking
she
about
had
her.
no idea. She just thought that maybe they just didn't like her. Or
Right.
they were snooty, because she's clearly not from around there.
No.
She's got that accent and everything.
And she was as sweet as can be to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean,
so I'm
she's
sure she was absolutely confounded as to why she was being treated the way she was. But once she finds out,
Yeah.
She said that she was going to turn him from a rooster into a hen.
that was a
That's
great
one
line.
of my favorite lines. Yeah,
That's a great
that was
line.
so funny.
And the delivery is just, and with that southern drawl. Because
Yeah.
you think of southern ladies as nothing but hospitality and kindness. But I
Yeah.
love that Doralee had a gun in her purse and was ready to use it.
Did she say that when she was grabbing her gun, she blew a hole through her purse?
Yeah, so it was the only
With-
time she ever shot it. She just blew a hole through her purse.
Yeah, I think Judy was the only one to use it through this entire film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, actually.
Basically.
That's right. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the end of the film?
I was satisfied with the ending.
Yeah.
I like the way it ended.
It was very satisfying.
It was interesting because it was like Hart was sort of being rewarded,
But not really.
but not really.
Not really.
Although I feel like being shipped off to Brazil isn't a bad thing. I don't
So you
know.
get
Could be
kidnapped.
just-
I mean, for him, I guess.
yeah. I mean, if he hadn't been kidnapped by a tribe, I'm sure it would have been. I mean, it's nice and tropical down there, and I'm sure he's not like in the poor sections.
Well,
he's like
I think
at the
I
business
think that
office.
he wanted to get them in trouble, but since he was
I'm
moving,
sure
like,
he did.
immediately-
He wanted to send them to jail.
Sure, he kept threatening them.
I mean, and not only that, but he was getting sent down there for work that he had no participation in whatsoever. In
Right.
fact, he didn't like any of it.
right.
So going down there and setting stuff up with the expectation, oh, you're going to work miracles like you did in the office
Yeah.
back at home.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to do that.
Right. But plus, you also have the whole cultural thing, right? And he's
Yeah.
obviously insensitive to any of that.
Oh, my God, everything. Yeah.
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 He was the stereotypical, like, sort of pig-headed boss from the time where
Oh yeah,
Just
I
completely-
I deserve all the good stuff, and if anything bad happens, it's somebody else.
this is
and-
false. Right. And then when Violet gets passed up for the promotion, where he basically tells her, oh, well, this isn't me. This is coming from corporate. They want
Yeah.
a man in that
you gotta
position.
have a man in that role.
Right.
and-
And he has a family, which was
She-
crap. 'cause
She's
it's
a
like
single
she's-
parent
Yeah.
with 4 kids and a grandma.
Yeah, I'm like, what is Violet? Like chopped liver? And then the other thing that was infuriating that was that he came. She was already there when he came, and yet he's
She trained him.
Yeah, and he sort of ascended the ranks.
Yeah, she trained the guy who got the promotion instead of him.
And then-
instead of
Been
her.
there for over a decade. She had, and the guy who got the promotion, she'd been there for 5 years longer.
Right, and just the fact that Hart was in a position to help her out, and you would think as a decent human being he would do that, especially since she's the one that trained him, and yet he doesn't have that instinct in him.
Decency.
No decency.
Well, I mean,
Monster.
he in his mind, she was basically, you're one of my girls, but
Right.
that means nothing to him.
him,
Because
yeah.
once she started talking back, and you know,
He's threatening her.
he's
yeah.
basically threatened her.
Yeah,
She's standing up for what she deserves to. She deserved the promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. She's doing all the work.
And he's just
Yeah.
like, whatever.
And
Just
then just-
remember your place.
Yes. And then the other thing that I think is interesting about the film is keeping with the Franklin Hart character, the sort of abusive language, broads, right? These
Yeah.
broads. I want to get you broads. I'm going to call the police and have you broads arrested, right? Just complete disrespect. Didn't have any. And the way he treated Doralee at the beginning, right? Like she's just a piece of meat
Yeah.
that he covets and wants, and because who he is, she should just immediately fall into his arms.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she had a sense of decency and morals and was like, no, I'm married and you're married
back
too, and you
off.
should.
And he was like, it was funny because he's like apologizing for all of these incidents that happened previously, and then
yet
he just keeps doing it.
doing it. Yeah.
It's like, what the that's
Yeah.
And then when she brought up that they were both married, he said that meant they were perfect
Yeah.
for each other.
Ugh.
what a
What kind
scum.
of logic is that?
Just sort of, you know what? That sort of reminded, when we were watching that scene, it sort of reminded me of the Adam Driver character in The Last Duel.
Oh God, yeah.
It was like, he was so
He was
like,
so full of himself.
and it was so weird because it was like,
He's like,
you
don't feel
know-
bad for wanting this.
Yes, it's like you know
Like
that
we
this
couldn't
is
help ourselves.
Yeah, we
and
couldn't.
He
We couldn't
raped
help
her.
ourselves.
right, and I'm sure given half the chance, Mr. Franklin Hart would have maybe.
If this was a different kind of
if
movie,
this was a
yeah.
different kind of movie, yeah. But it was interesting because I was thinking of that, and I was thinking about how like these mediocre men just are so hyped up about themselves that they truly believe this narrative, like, oh well, she obviously wants me. I'm this executive at Consolidated and this, that, and the other thing, and why wouldn't she want me?
Yeah, he didn't really do anything. He just made these like meaningless exercises of power. Like, you can't have any colorful cups on your desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the point? And no pictures of like
No
your
pictures of your
family.
family.
What
Yeah.
the
And he
hell?
got rid of the daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the only thing he actually sort of was an initiator of was embezzling from his company.
Which he didn't get caught over, unfortunately. And then the other thing was, let's talk about the Roz character. Because,
God, what a kiss
Oh
ass.
my
yes,
God.
because that's annoying to me. I mean, I'm sure as adults, you and I have run across, and maybe in your school career, you kids have run across a variation of this, but someone who is out obviously for their own skin and just feeds into this really toxic environment, right? Because here she is sort of like Franklin's stool pigeon, right? And she's feeding him all this information.
I don't even think she's like doing it for her own skin. I think she's just a true believer. She is the type of person, and you see them in stories and all over the place, where it's just somebody who's just like, yeah, they're the boss, and we got to do what the boss says because they're the best. They're the ones who know what we're supposed to do. And then by the end of the movie, that person generally gets betrayed, or thrown to the wolves,
right.
or like in a zombie movie, they're the one that the boss shoots in the leg as they're running away.
Yes,
so the zombies eat them.
Yeah. But so, oh my God, I just had an idea and it just flew out of my head.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Ratatouille.
True believer.
No. Do you think that I'm going to ask everybody at the table. I'm going to start with you, G. Do you think that Roz may have had a little thing for Mr. Hart?
I mean, maybe. She was so desperate for, to talk to him and everything. And she went to some weird language learning thing just because, she didn't even need to be in person. She just needed to see his signature.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, if the rumor mill was running so rampant in the office, would she have been upset that Doralee was getting attention from Franklin? Or no? She just still...
No, because I don't think it was like a sexual attraction to Mr. Hart. It was, this is Mr. Hart's domain, and he is allowed to take what he wants to take. And Doralee is part of that. She is a benefit of his position.
Really?
That's what I mean by true believer. The true believer, they're the ones who are just like in the cults, who are just like, oh, you need to have sex with my wife, right? And they hand over their wives and daughters to the cult leader. They don't care. They're just like, this guy is the one, and I will follow this person.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. And looking at it in that lens, this is terrifying to me.
There are people.
No,
I mean,
you're
let's be
right.
honest.
You're
This is
absolutely
not
right.
this is not even like a fiction thing.
That's absolutely
there are
100% true.
Believers, and I mean, look at the political spectrum.
Yeah.
There are more, you hear about them more thanks to the internet and the need
Social
for ratings,
media,
because they're generally crazy.
Yeah.
And we all, it's like, are you going to watch the normal thing, or are you going to watch the person the person being crazy and be like, I can't believe they would do that. What were they thinking? How could somebody let their daughter do that?
Yeah.
And Roz is sort of like a very muted comedy version of that.
Yeah.
But that's
still terrifying.
That's
and
the
scary.
archetype. Yeah.
And hurtful, absolutely.
Oh well, they're the absolute enabler. They're the collaborator who, hey, walk over here. It's a shower. It's not an oven. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that got dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say, geez, we just took a comedy from the '80s and like really broke it down into like its deepest, darkest.
Roz is a Nazi collaborator.
You know what? If this had taken place in the time of Jojo Rabbit, she would have been like the Rebel Wilson character.
There you go.
Sending children with bombs.
Yeah.
Go hug that soldier. Pulls the pin.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's always, I think my takeaways from this film are just, it's always great that the thing that you love still transcends time. And I think that's the mark of true amazing storytelling. This story could be told in 1980. This story could be told in 2023. This story could be told in 2050. And I think it'll still resonate with people, because you're going to have, unfortunately, these social situations where someone in a position of power is going to abuse that power. And then you're going to have people underneath those types of people who are going to suffer because of what the executive is doing. It's unfortunate, but it happens. It happened in 1980. I'm sure it's happening right now in 2023. It does give me, though, solace to know that there are good people, even in tough work situations, who are decent and kind and moral and work for the greater good. So in the words of Mr. Rogers, always look for the helpers, I guess. And I think the other thing I want to highlight is that, again, for a story that is 43 years old, the writing on this is just sharp and fresh and still funny.
Yeah.
Still funny. Kudos to the writing of Colin Higgins and Patricia Resnick. Just a bang up job. And kudos all the flowers to Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, and Dolly Parton for doing the work and bringing these characters to life. In the month of women's history, we wanted to look at a film where the female wasn't the proverbial meek little subservient thing.
Or
and
a
it was
prop.
Or a prop, absolutely. And I think it was nice that Jane, what was her name? Jane Fonda's character?
Judy.
I forgot. Judy, sorry. It was nice to see that Judy had this like nice arc where she comes in as like this little mousy meek thing, but by the end is sort of like a baller babe, just like her
up for herself,
comrades there. Lily Tomlin always plays that role. She's always the smart aleck, the one who gets things done, who is
smart under pressure.
Absolutely, and just fierce and fashionable. I loved her sense of style in this film. That was another thing that I kind of looked at a lot. There were some frocks in this thing that I just was like, I would totally wear that. I would totally wear that in the year of 2023. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see that aspect. I think when Judy first comes on into the office, she looks like she's going to the Easter parade.
Yeah.
But then by the end, she's more acclimated. She seems like she's one of the bunch.
Yeah.
She's a proper working girl now and has found her tribe. And that was another lovely thing about this film, how these women come together because of the shared trauma of the horrible boss and form a family and form this lovely friendship that they are always going to look out for each other, even when they make each other crazy, like the sequence in after the hospital. But I think that too like lends itself really, really well. So I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. I'm going to start with you, Olive G. 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
I'd probably give this like an 8.
An 8. What about you, Gigi? 1 to 10. What would you think? What do you think?
I'd also give it an 8. I like this film.
What do you say?
I would also give it an 8.
An 8. I'm actually gonna leap ahead. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think again, from where it starts to where it ends, it's a great storytelling journey. I think the characters are all really well done, nicely fleshed out. Everyone has their moment, and again, it's just, to me, I love the fact that this film, that is, again, 43 years old, still stands the test of time. I mean, they could do a little bit more preservation on that side because it looked like a film from the 80s.
Yeah.
But everything else, just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
You know, you convinced me. I'll give it a 9. Too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a classic. If you haven't seen it, run, don't walk, and check out 1980s 9 to 5. Rated PG. I think by today's standard, it might be considered a PG-13. Definitely not for under 9. I don't think, maybe. I mean, there's nothing overtly, but
it came out in 80?
1980.
So I was 7 when I saw this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was 8.
So, yeah. I mean, it was totally fine. It didn't warp me.
Didn't warp me either, but
I don't remember anything about them smoking pot. That was like a new plot element to me.
I actually saw this a few years ago, and I don't think I caught it from the beginning because I think it might have been like on TCM or something, and I was pleasantly pleased at how well the second half of this film held up. And I did miss the pot scene, and I kind of forgot about it. But watching it now, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it. I just feel like in today's rating standards, I think that probably would push it into the PG-13 territory.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
also the cursing.
The cursing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah,
constantly calling women. He's very derogatory about women.
He used bitch a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I think it would be.
And also the
PG-13.
sequence with him and Doralee towards the beginning, where he's basically sexually harassing her.
But there's never anything like really that graphic about it. I mean, there's no groping. True. He never, manhandles her in any way. In fact, she stands up to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And like pushes back against him, but yeah, he never like actually physically assaults anybody.
Yes, true.
So yeah, but I mean, they put up warnings if they're smoking now.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. That is weird, isn't it? When you see like in a film on
smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I put peril in it. Like
peril.
Most movies have peril, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is. Yeah. Yeah. We've become really, really wussified, I guess. I don't know what the word is.
You got to make sure everybody knows every possible thing that could possibly make them upset is in what you're going to see.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, I don't think this movie would make anybody upset. I mean, it is just fun from start to finish.
A fun movie.
Yeah. All right. Again, 9 to 5 from 1980, rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. Currently streaming on HBO Max. Get it before it disappears. Are they still going through their changes over there?
Who the hell knows? I feel like stuff on streaming services is there one week and gone the next. And then suddenly it's like, oh, now it's on this streaming service and now it's on this one. It's just a mess.
Yeah. I feel like at some point I was like, I feel like we have all the streaming services. I cannot buy into another one. Although if I did, it would probably be Shudder or Movie, I think, at this point. Although BritBox is making a big stink over there too, I think. I would totally invest in that.
There's just too many freaking
There are too
services.
many. Yeah.
I so
kind
much
of
better
miss,
when there was like one.
It's funny. I kind of miss just regular stations and Netflix. It was nice to just have Netflix be the hub where everybody went for the other stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone got greedy, right? And now every cable channel has its own streaming service, AMC Plus, MGM Plus.
Like all of those should be bundled under one thing. Streaming service.
Yeah,
just
and I shouldn't have to pay extra for that. Yeah,
I mean, when you boil it all down, there's only like 4 entertainment companies, right?
Yeah.
Why are there so many goddamn streaming services?
I don't know. Can someone get back to us on that? I would appreciate it. All right. This episode of the podcast is dedicated to all the people that help me at work. All the secretaries, the AAs, the EAs, the office assistants, the office support staff, the multimedia staff. I am truly, truly nothing without you. A big shout out to my current tribe, Joann D, Rashema, Shay, Veli, Yvette, Valencia, Monica, Melissa, Naz, Anna, Jelahn. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do for me and keeping me sane through some very, very trying times. That's it. That's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.